Hello, dear listener. You're all right. You're looking well. All right, this is a preview of Everton v Arsenal. And with me tonight, it's only Captain Crappy Beards. It's John Welsh. Right, John?
Hi, Danny. You all right?
Yes, I only messaged you about 7:30 if you wanted to, if anybody could do it. And I was still in bed, so I rushed around like a blue-arsed fly, like my mother would say.
You're giving away the secret of my exciting Saturday night.
We're recording this on Friday, so we're doing it in advance. I think it was. We're doing it Sunday morning. I can't remember which is the best way to say we're doing it. 15 minutes. In fact, we've waffled now for 40 seconds. That's way too much. Right, we'll start off with adding a new little bit to this, dear listener. Where can you see the game? Now, I've been to a website that tells you all of this stuff. So in the UK, or if you're using certain services that you have to pick where you want to watch it, Sky Sports main event, Sky Sports Premier League. In the USA, it's on NBC Sports. And in good old Canada land, it's TSN1, TSN4 and TSN5. Right, John, we've got the head-to-heads up next. What's been the previous results?
So the last 5 meetings, this is at the Emirates. Why have you got the Emirates, Danny, and not at Goodison?
I edit my previous one, which was when we played Newcastle, and that's one bit. If you see Newcastle anywhere, John, just put Everton in the place. So it's Goodison, and I forgot to change it.
Oh yes, no, it is the right. It's the results for the right stadium. It's just the wrong stadium written in. So Everton 2, Arsenal 5. Goals from Nacho, Ozil, Lacazette, Sanchez, and Ramsey. Everton did get a win back in 2017. Oh, that was when Sanchez still played for us. Remember him? What's he doing now? 2015-16 season, Everton lost 2-0. Welbeck and Iwobi. 2015 was a 2-2 with a Ramsey and Giroud. And all the way back to 2013-14, Everton 3-0. So let's not talk about that one. But let's look at the current league form, Danny, because people are a little bit worried because this is an away game.
Doesn't look too good for us, does it? The last time we did this, I went back 6 games, but even going back 4 Premier League games, this takes us back to the beginning of January. So there's no point going all the way back to the end of November. So I changed it to 4. So Arsenal away, 1-1, drawn 1, lost 2, scored 4, and conceded 6 with 0 clean sheets. But Everton, exactly the same. 1-1, drawn 1, lost 2, but they scored 3, conceded 5, and they've had 2 clean sheets. So that's them at home. So, that's going to be much of a muchness there. I think the main thing to have to do with this is going to be the fact that we have nearly all of our players seemingly on form, and the ones that are fit are playing really well, aren't they?
Yeah. Away form is the big worry, but despite the fact that Everton did win their last home game, which was against Chelsea 2-0, they had a draw with Liverpool, they lost to City. Of all the teams you're going to face away, they're ones that generally will give you a win if you really want one. They're generous like that.
Yeah, so if I'm just looking at our overall form for the entire season, so far this year, 2019, we've only won 2 away games out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 out of 7. I don't think we've got much to worry about tomorrow night, have we? How about the injuries and suspensions? Because that's another thing that I messed up. But you managed to remind me of what one I'd got wrong. So go on, what are they?
Yeah, so Lucas Torres having his last suspension for his red card. So that's his last Premier League suspension. He's in Italy tonight at the Sampdoria game, watching Samp against Roma. So I don't know if he's going to stay out there or then he's flying back because obviously... Oh, no, he will be flying back because the home game's against Napoli, isn't it? We're not away first. We're at home. Anyway.
No, our next game is Watford.
Is it Watford? Oh, no, Napoli's the week after, isn't it?
Not Watford on the 15th.
Yeah, there we go. Jumping ahead of myself. He's not available tomorrow. Ramsey, Koscielny and Xhaka are all being assessed ahead of tomorrow's game. I'm guessing Xhaka probably the most likely to come back. So I think he was just a groin strain or something.
John, I hate to tell you, but I had that on away fixtures only. We are playing Napoli on the 11th, which is our next game after Everton.
CC listener, Danny's definitely only just got up.
And John hasn't even mentioned the fact that in when I get the previous fixtures up at 2015-15. He was too kind to point that out.
I was being a pro, Danny, just going past it. But yeah, so Ramsey, Xhaka and Koscielny, we will find out tomorrow ahead of the game whether they're definitely going to start. Obviously, Welbeck holding Bellerín, all still long-term injuries. Everton have just got, is it Mina? I think the Colombian. Yeah, out for them. I suppose on a good note, they have got a certain Theo Walcott available for him, considering some of his form, which we will get to. Now, Danny, should we talk about Everton's last few formations and not Newcastle's, as you've left in the box here?
I left Newcastle in there. I was in such a hurry, dear listener, because I thought, I wasn't even going to bother getting out of bed today if it wasn't for the fact the cats would starve, even though they're all fat. So, Newcastle's last few formations are of no consequence. I forgot to change that. But, yes, I just cut and paste and edit it. But Everton's last few formations have been quite consistent. They've been playing a 4-2-3-1. That's for their last 8 league games, home and away. And they've been playing Dominic Calvert-Lewin, plays as the lone forward. I was going to put a striker, but I don't think he's a striker, is he? I think he's more of a kind of... what would you call him if he's not a striker, but he's a bit of a winger. He's a bit like a bum. No, is he like a Aubameyang?
I'd say he's more like a Welbeck. He's a bit more of a kind of all-round target man type. I wouldn't call him a striker with his goal-scoring record, although now I've said that, he'll probably score a hat-trick tomorrow.
Yes, because I know I was confused because at the start of the season, my stopwatch has gone off. The start of the season, he was the one who was coming on for Walcott when Walcott was playing out wide right, and then he'd come on, and then eventually he'd be playing starting wide right. And recently, they've moved him from starting wide right to playing up front because he's got a really good pace. So I don't think he's an actual striker, but but keep an eye on him. He's a very decent young player. And then behind them, they have 3 players. Bernard plays left, who scored the first goal of the season, Premier League for him last week. Sigurdsson and Richarlison playing on the right. And those 3 have been playing in that position for quite a few games now. And in the central midfield role, you got Gaye and Gomez, who are their kind of, would you say they're a Torreira and Xhaka? Would you say they're like a Torreira and a Ramsey?
More Torreira Xhaka, I would say. Actually, Gomez is a little bit Ramsey. I guess he's a bit more mobile. If you are wondering, listeners, what Danny said was Bernard, Richarlison, Sigurdsson, Idrissa Gueye, and Gomez. I think you got Gomez's name right.
What?
I'm just doing your pronunciation. That's okay.
That was a question in the podcast midweek. What names do I get wrong? Just listen to this one. I'll get them all wrong. They're all called Gary. I'm never getting that wrong, am I? At least I'm not Brazilian, where Tim Vicker used to say how the Brazilians said Jonathan Woodgate was Jonathan Woodgate. Seriously, if you listen, well, I don't listen to it anymore because Dotton's a bit of a tit. Anyway, John, do you want to? I can't hold back the tears about the Walcott information I've put there. I'm going to look away while you read it.
Okay, so obviously ex-Arsenal superstar, loved by some, hated by many. Theo Walcott obviously went to Everton. He's come on as a sub in the last 3 games. He's not even being picked anymore. Played 16 minutes this season. Then this season, Theo has played 34 games and scored 4 goals and got 2 assists in all competitions. He has scored 2 of them in the first 3 league games. He's got 1 league goal since September. That's, Theo's not doing great there. And there was, I think on Arscast this week, they had one of the guys from Men in Blazers who was an Everton fan, very funny. And he was talking about Everton possibly looking to move Theo on. Sad times, Theo. Although he probably got his coffee machine out of it, so I'm sure he's happy.
It makes me so sad. He's not a footballer, though, is he? He's just someone who can run fast, and occasionally the ball goes in off his arse.
I mean, he's not got a terrible record. You look at his goals to game ratio for Arsenal, considering
all against Reading, though.
Yeah,
in one game.
He played most of his career as a wide player. It's not that bad. 1 in 4 for a wide man. It's pretty good.
He was our top goal scorer with 21 goals one season. Most of them, about 19 of them were in the League Cup.
How far we've come on from Theo signing the team to do we really need Mesut Ozil? How times have changed. But Danny, do you want to talk about some of Everton's real danger men and what they actually can offer as a threat?
So this is the entire season's worth of statistics, not over the last few games because I didn't have enough time. So Sigurdsson, 35 games, 13 goals and 5 assists. Richarlison, 33 games, 13 goals and 2 assists. And Calvert-Lewin, got that right? Yeah. English name, 33 games, 8 goals and 2 assists, and that's really good considering he's only really made that first team spot his own in the last month or so. And the other important thing is Pickford has played all 32 league games for them and kept 10 clean sheets, which is quite impressive for someone who's a short, ginger, fat, bald kid who's about 12 years old.
I mean, 10 clean sheets isn't great, is it really? Let's be honest.
We've got 7.
True, but I don't think those clean sheets have got a lot to do with Pickford. If you've seen him in the last month or so, he's not the world's greatest goalkeeper. Yeah,
No.
He's really gone downhill since he's gone there, which is a shame if you're an England fan. But if you're not, it's hilarious. So.
Yeah, that. So what sort of formation do you think we're going to go? We're going to go with the usual thing because with Ramsey and Xhaka being late fitness tests, that could make a bit of a difference whether they're substitutes or whether they're actually starting the game.
I suppose it depends on Koscielny, maybe a little bit. Although he can still play Nacho, Socrates, and Mustafi. I think he wants to stick with this three at the back. He seems to be quite happy with it. It's working with Ozil as well now. It works. He seems to be able to switch it to from one up front with three at the back to whether he's bringing on Aubameyang or Lacazette, whoever it is, to switching to two up front and going from two wide men to a number 10, that kind of thing. But I think it just gives us that stability, especially away from home, because our away record has been it's better than last year, but that's not saying a lot, to be perfectly honest, because last season's away form was dreadful. But it just gives us a little bit more security. No Torreira there means, Guendouzi's probably going to start, and then it's whether, Xhaka or Ramsey who's fit to play next to him. And if it is Ramsey, although he's been brilliant, recently, he will obviously vacate that space in front of the back three a little bit more than, say, Xhaka will. So it gives you a little bit more security there, I think. So that's what I'd expect to see. Probably start with one up top, and maybe whoever it is, the other striker, whether it's Alba or Laka, will come on at 60, 70 minutes, I'd guess.
Yeah, but Alba had a knock in the previous game, didn't he? That's why he didn't go to a late fitness test or something like that. Yeah. So I think it's they're going to be taking Richarlison and Bernardo, both Brazilian, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is Gomez Brazilian?
I think he's Portuguese. I think is it Andre Gomez? Yeah, he's Portuguese. Yeah.
Well, they're basically Brazilian. They all speak Portuguese.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of attacking football going on, not so much defending going on. So hopefully this will be a high-scoring game, mainly in our favour. It'd be good if we could beat them 7-0 again. That'd be magnificent. I think we beat them 7-0 on the days at Highbury. I took my mate Dean, who's an Everton fan, and he, although we beat them 7-0 towards the end of the season, he was over the moon because it means they still made the UEFA Cup as it was back then.
Oh, the UEFA Cup, yeah.
Oh, great days. Yeah. So I think we'll be playing a nice attacking type of football up there. So I was thinking, like you, I probably agree with everything you were saying there. If Ramsey's fit, I play him. I do quite like the fact that you have Ozil playing behind a striker. Well, I don't know what you call them, do you? Because if Aubameyang plays, he's not always playing as a striker. But it's nice having Ozil and Ramsey in the team, because then Ozil doesn't have to do any tracking back at all. He can just stay where he is, and then Ramsey will do all the running around like a headless chicken, but actually producing lots of wonderful stuff.
Yeah, you've got Mkhitaryan to throw in there as well, who's obviously came on late in the other game. Iwobi, who played 60 minutes, but you can bring him on as a sub or start him, whatever you need. So I think the fact we've got more options up front now, like Mkhitaryan coming back into the mix, and Ozil actually playing again now, and not just being put in the team, but actually playing well. Just opens us up for good options. It will be a case of how much cover, how much are we going to leave Richarlison and Bernard, I guess, in space? Richarlison in particular, because he's the one with real pace and threat. Bernard's a bit more tricky, will come inside more often.
Yeah, but Bernard's no real threat for goal-wise, is if he's only got one all season in the Premier League. Not that he's played every single game, but we've played, out of our last 6 Premier League games, we've played 4 of them have been 3 at the back, and 2 of them have been 4 at the back. The 4 at the back was away against Spurs and at home against Southampton. I think the Southampton one was more through necessity with a few players being out.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that. But I really do like the 3 at the back, if not only because it frees up Kolasinac and Maitland-Niles to run down those wings and be like playing 5 up front at times. And that's got to give the fear of the baby jeebas to anybody who wants to play against us, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That will be the big one. It'll be interesting as well to see if he does decide to change it at all and go to a back 4, whether that's because he's got Napoli in mind and just trying a few things out before that game coming up. Because he's going to have one eye on that, because we're at that weird point where we need to keep the consistency in the league to stay in the top 4. But obviously, if we can get past Napoli, the chances of us winning the Europa League obviously will go up higher because we're in the next round. But we've knocked out probably one of the best teams in it.
Certainly are. Right, we've got 12 seconds to go. What's your prediction for tomorrow?
I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Arsenal.
Oh, I am going to go for a 4-2 win for Arsenal, because there's going to be goals galore. Oh. Right, tomorrow's Well, the phone said we're done. Tomorrow's radio show is going to be our very own Welsh Justice, Mr. Jason Davis. It's going to be Lana from sunny Sweden. I think she's in at the moment. I know she's recently been on holiday. And the other one is hashtag Fuck Ellis. So people, remember, go and type Fuck Ellis in the chat box. And we are done. Is there anything else we need to mention, John?
No, I think that's it.
Well, lovely jubbly. Thank you very much for joining us, people. And good night from ABW Cave on the Moon, as I think where we decided we're going to live. Cave on the Moon. That's where we belong. Good night, John.
Good night, Danny.